Hey everyone, today I'm doing a review of the TYT TH-350 tri-band FM transceiver. This is a tri-band HT available from TYT that transmits on the 2 meter, 1.25 meter, and 70 centimeter bands of amateur radio. When I bought this radio, what I got with it was these two antennas and this antenna. Normally you only get these two, but my seller on eBay included this one. I'll tell you why in a minute. I got the cradle charger, one battery, the manual, and the programming software. I bought the extra battery separately and this battery replacer separately. Both of those were pretty cheap. I found them online. So normally when you buy this radio, you'll get one stubby antenna, good for the 220 band, and another stubby antenna for the 144 and the 440 band. The seller I bought from included a tri-band antenna. I tested this on my little SWR meter and it tested very good on all three bands, and I'm very happy they included this in the deal, and it's why I bought this radio, because switching back and forth between antennas to use different bands seems kind of silly. I bought the radio because I want to use all three bands, and having the antenna I don't have to switch is very nice. So I've been using this radio as a mobile radio in my work truck for about 3 months now. I do like it for a few reasons. It only has 5 watts output power, yes, but I don't really need more than that for my daily activities with amateur radio. So obviously it's nice being a tri-bander that you have access to transmit on 3 bands. This one also happens to have tri-watch, so you can monitor 3 frequencies at the same time. It goes into little standby mode there. It says 3W up in the corner of the screen. And when it says 3W, that means it's watching all 3 channels at the same time. As soon as it hears something on one of those channels, it will switch to that one, indicated by the arrow on the left side, and then you're only listening to that channel. It won't listen to more than one at once. But after it stops hearing something on a channel, then it goes back into tri-watch, indicated by that 3W. If it hears something for a second, it doesn't say anything up in that corner, and it's only listening to that channel, and then it says 3W. This you can activate with menu 12 on this radio. So I'm in menu 12. It's called TDR. If you turn that off, hit enter to save, hit exit to leave the menus. Now it will never say 3W in that corner. So if you don't want to monitor all 3, you want to switch between them on your own, you just turn that off in menu 12. I'm going to leave that on. Another nice feature is menu 13, TXF. So if you go into this menu, your choices are F1, F2, F3, and auto. So in auto mode, when the radio hears something on a channel, it will switch to that channel automatically. Then when you push the PTT, you will talk on the channel it's switched to. So every time it switches, it will change which channel it transmits on when you push the PTT. I've found that annoying sometimes, because maybe you want to monitor the weather channel down here, but you don't want it transmitting on that channel, obviously, if it hears something there, because there's no purpose. You only want to transmit on your other repeater that you're listening up here, say. So what you do is you go into that menu 13, TXF, and you set that to F1. So F1 is channel 1, F2 is channel 2, F3 is channel 3. So when you leave this menu, so now if it's down here on channel 3 because it heard something down there, but now I push the PTT button, see that arrow on the left side automatically went up to channel 1, because if I have that set to F1 in menu 13, it means it's going to transmit on channel 1 every time, regardless which channel it's listening to. So that's a nice feature for that reason. You only want to transmit on channel 1, channel 2, and 3. You're just going to listen to those. So I like that feature. Let's go through the rest of the menus here. So squelch, transmit power. So you got high, low. On high power, I tested this radio. It did transmit at 4.8 watts on VHF and 5.4 on UHF. I couldn't test properly on the 1.25 meter band. It does have voice activated transmit, but I have that turned off. Wide, narrow, you can switch. Scan ads. So if I switch that channel to memory mode, and then I go into the scan ad, the SC ad menu, and I change that to on, now I get this little symbol. And then when I push the scan button, now it will include that channel when it's scanning. If you don't want to include certain channels when you're scanning, then you go into that menu and you set it to off. And then it will not include those channels while you're scanning. So that's a nice way to control which channels you're scanning through. It has the 2 programmable side keys. That's how I'm scanning there. So one of them I have programmed as a monitor button, so it turns off the squelch, listen to everything. And the other one, as you saw there, I have programmed as my scanning button. So you can get it scanning and then control the direction of scanning with the rotating knob at the top or with the up and down arrows here. And then you push that button again and it's not scanning anymore. Those 2 buttons are programmable. You can change it between short press and long press. There is a there's the step menu. That's to change what increment it uses each time when you're scanning. TOT is your transmit timeout, so that means after 3 minutes, if I'm transmitting after 3 minutes, it's going to stop. That's just in case you sit on your key. There's an audible beep you can turn on if you want. I have that turned off. ABR is the backlighting, on or off, so that backlight that turns on every time I touch a key, that's what that's talking to. The reverse function, so you can monitor the input on your repeaters if you go into the menu and turn that on when you're on one of your memory channels. TDR, that's the triple watch, like I mentioned. We went over that menu. There's your tones. I'm going to make another video of how to program this radio. This is so you can have each channel either display the frequency it's on, or the name, or the channel number. Okay, so when you program memory, it gives it a channel number 1, 2, 3. You can have it show that. You can have it show the frequency it's on, or you can give the channel a name if you have the programming software. I couldn't program a name through the keypad. I can program a repeater through the keypad, but I can't give it a name. With the programming software, then you can give the channel a name, and that will display if you have that setting there set to name. The open set menu, it'll show the voltage of your battery, or you can set a welcome message, I guess you could say. That's just shift direction and the difference. There's a scrambler. I don't know how to use that. So yeah, that's it. So like I said, it's a nice little radio. The accessories weren't very much money. The battery was cheap. The battery replacer was cheap, and that's a nice thing to have. I get good signal reports on all 3 channels. I haven't had any problems with it that way. It's typical performance for a 5-watt handheld. It does seem to put out a true 5 watts, so that's nice. And yeah, pretty cheap for only $100, and maybe $130 Canadian for all this stuff here. I think it's a nice little handheld, and it's a good way to go. One other thing about the programming software, I tried to download it off the TYT website, and when I did that, I couldn't program the name like I was talking about. It just wouldn't work. It wouldn't show up. But then I talked to my seller, and he said, use the software he included on the CD-ROM. So he gave me this little CD-ROM with the software on there. When I installed that software, then it worked. Then the name showed up on the radio when I programmed it in. So that's something to remember if you're having troubles with that. I think that's all I got to say. I like this little radio. Thank you for watching. Like I said, I'm going to do a separate video for programming this. So keep an eye out for that. Thanks for watching, everyone.